Hey, seedlings. Welcome to the Podfigure Baton Pass for Traffic Light Trio by Itslivybear. The way this works is that I'm reading Chapter 9, Onyx Sunflower read the previous chapter, and Puppy Wanter will be reading the next chapter. Passing along, who will be reading Traffic Light Trio until the podfig is finished. I hope you enjoy! You can't run forever, generator. I don't know, May. I think I can. Izuku hummed and went back to his notebook, scribbling away observations on Kirishima's quirk as May chased Kaminari around the school courtyard. It was after school where they all agreed to hang out. Well, the three of them agreed. Mina was going to dance, and May came out of the building like a cackling witch. And the weather was really nice, so they decided to go outside for the testing today. May was keen to strap another device to Kaminari for the free power he could provide while Kiri and Izuku looked at the various properties of Harden. So, I was doing some research and I found what's called the Mohs hardness scale. I asked Yamomo to make some of the testers for it from hardness 4 to 10. Kirishima hefted up one of the 7 rocks. Is that what these are? Neat. Izuku hummed. So, the easiest thing to do would be to test the hardness of different parts of your body to not only get a baseline, but also to see if anywhere is harder. Also, the result on May's machine will be ready in 15 minutes, so we'll get a better idea of your composition. Sounds good. Scratch me up. Izuku took the lightest rock, the fluorite, or its equivalent, and hovered over Kirishima's arm. Grabbing the hardened arm solidly in one hand, he pressed the mineral to his arm and slid it down as if to scratch it. The rock left behind a residue, and wiping it away revealed a perfectly whole arm. Okay, so you're stronger than a 4. He tested the next one, appetite, to the same result. That means you're harder than bone. Fieldspar hardness 6 was also scratched instead of scratching him. Quartz actually broke off some small chunks. Topaz left some yellow-brown dust on his arm. Finally, with number 9, Corundum, Kirishima got scratched. Okay, that's really cool. That means your hardness is somewhere between an 8 and a 9 on the hardness scale, which is really cool. Kirishima let the quirk fall away and flexed with a grin. That sounds really cool. Time to test other regions? Izuku nodded, eager, and they got to work. No one area was noticeably harder or softer than his arms, with the one exception being his face, somewhere between a 7 and an 8. But Izuku wasn't quite done testing. Can you harden your whole body? Kirishima scratched the back of his head. I mean, yeah, I can, but I mostly just use my quirk on one limb or another. I can't hold the whole body thing for long. Why? Izuku grinned. I want to see if your overall hardness drops when you harden your whole body versus a specific part. If it does, that means you'll want to focus on increasing your hardness in general, so if you don't know where you're going to get hit, or if you're about to take a big hit, you'll be okay. On the other hand, if your hardness doesn't decrease at all, then that means you should focus on maintaining it all over your body for longer, so you get a longer time in general. Kirishima nodded. Makes sense. I can only hold it for about 10 seconds now, so be fast, yeah? Izuku nodded, hovering over his arm with the topaz. Kirishima suddenly looked like he was made of flesh-covered rocks, and Izuku scratched the topaz against his arm. Moment of truth. He delicately wiped it off to see if Kirishima had gotten scratched. He hadn't. Kirishima, you maintain hardness. They both cheered, drawing the attention of Kaminari and Mei, who paused their chase. Wait, what's going on? Kirishima grinned at their third group member. I have a goal. I stay the same hardness even if all of me is hard. That means I just gotta up my time. Kaminari grinned back and flashed them a thumbs up. Rad, dude. You got to learn something that doesn't make you a target. As if on cue, Mei immediately tackled him to the ground and he screamed, I'm not ready to be a father. There was a ding and Izuku perked up. Oh, that's the analysis machine thing. He immediately slid over, reading the screen with hungry eyes. Haha, yes, I was right. When you harden, your skin floods with dense keratin proteins in a coiled helix. He whipped out his phone to one of the few tabs he had open. Things to eat to increase your keratin levels are eggs, onions, salmon, sweet potatoes, sunflower seeds, mangoes, garlic, kale, beef liver, and carrots. He looked up with a grin. Most of those things are super doable. Kirishima fist bumped the air. Hell yeah, dude, I'm gonna be the manliest hero ever. This is super cool, Mido bro. He flushed. Oh, it's nothing really. I'm just happy to help. Still, knowing I gotta spread my hardening out over my whole body to increase my time is super helpful. Izuku blinked, spreading out his quirk over his whole body. Huh. Zoning out entirely, he sat a bit straighter, feeling one for all coiling inside him, seeming eager to be used. He used to just reduce the percentage in one of his limbs, but what if he spreads it out all the way? First, he got the regular 7% in his arm, feeling it settle in like a warmth. Then he imagined feeling that all over his body. Whoa, Mido. He opened his eyes and felt it fade away with a snap. What happened? You started glowing green, dude. Izuku blinked, then furrowed his brow. Glowing green? Kirishima grinned. Yeah, you had lightning all over the place, but it wasn't like Kami Bros, since touching it felt kinda warm. What did you do? Izuku blushed, looking away. Well, I tried putting my quirk everywhere, like you do with your hardening. Yo, Kami bro, Mido took inspiration from my quirk too. That would be cooler if you hadn't left me to die. Stop being dramatic, generator. I'm testing a grabby hand. If you just filled up all the batteries I gave you, we wouldn't be here. Now, 750 volts, please. Kirishima snorted, turning back to Izuku. Cool that I could help. Can you do anything with it? Izuku scratched his head, frowning. Since you were able to knock me out of it so easily, I don't know. I guess I should just try again. At the encouraging nod from his friend, Izuku closed his eyes again and took a breath. He took the warmth from his core and let it spread at a nice 7% power. And this time, with Kirishima not immediately distracting him, he could feel the tension in his muscles. He opened his eyes slowly, even them straining, and he winced. He barely saw the green sparks Kirishima was talking about, before the strain became too much and he released it. "Aw, man, what happened?" He frowned, bringing his hand to his chin. "I don't know. It was like I was a rubber band pulled really tight." Kirishima nodded. "I get that. It's hard to move when I have a full body hardening going on." Kaminari, sitting on the ground several feet away, had given up. Having given up, spoke up next. "Maybe try less power or something. You're using the bruising level of power, which is probably not the greatest. So maybe less power will ease up the tension." Izuku nodded. "Right. I think I'll just start at 1% and then go until it starts to get uncomfortable." Having gotten a pretty decent feel of One for All last time, he opted not to choose his eyes and started at 1% of his power, spreading a gentle warmth throughout his whole body. He slowly ramped it up. At 6%, he felt the tension starting to get the better of him, so he dialed it back to 5. He clenched and unclenched his fist experimentally. It held. "You got it. Now see if you can move, or if you're like me, haha." Izuku smiled and slowly stood up. It held. Kaminari whooped, raising his hands in the air. "Green light is a go, people." Izuku laughed, but then gasped in despair as it slipped away. Mei shook her head. "It's a new gadget. Just do it again. Failure is the mark of progress." As if on cue, the grabby hand thing she had attached to Kaminari's arm started to spark, and he shrieked, waving it around. "Get it off, get it off, get it off." Mei rolled her eyes. "It's fine. We have at least 20 seconds before it explodes." "That is not reassuring." Kirishima chuckled, but Izuku was back to focusing. Like the inspiration he had taken from, he needed to practice maintaining his new usage of his quirk so he could use it more, hopefully while moving. After holding for a full minute, he tried to move. Everyone had sat down to watch his own progress on his quirk, and they all cheered when he took a step, and then another, and then he was running. It felt so good. He spent the next 10 minutes running with One for All active, laughing the entire time. "Tag, you're it." Kaminari looked mildly offended, but immediately leapt up to give chase. "No fair. You're way faster than us normally, and now you have the green glow power. Kiri, help!" He stopped. "Mei, are the repairs done on that grabby hand?" She cackled and tossed it to him. "Go, generator! Test my baby in a real situation. Go forth and tag!" He grinned and slipped the repaired device on, clicking the hands menacingly. "I'm coming to get you, Mido." Izuku grinned in challenge and dodged as the hand shot out to its full 20-foot range. "Your aim will be worse the farther it goes out, Kami. Then I'll just need practice." Not one to miss out on the fun, Kirishima bolted after him, trying to tackle the shorter boy into the grass, while Kaminari tried to use the grabby hand, which he was slowly getting better at aiming while moving, to corral them together so that at least one of them would catch him. Mei merely watched, calling out tips to Kaminari and writing down notes, eyes zooming in on it every so often and humming to herself in glee, when suddenly Izuku felt a metal hand brush him. He stopped, stumbling a little at the direct change of speed, and slowly turned back to face the other two. "Yes!" Kaminari fist-pumped the air, device retracting like a whip. I finally tagged you. Now you're it. Izuku grinned and let the green lightning crackle over him again. Yep, I'll give you a 10-second head start. Kaminari paled and immediately took off in the other direction, Kirishima following close behind. Izuku counted down from 10 before taking off at a run. They stood no chance. Are you sure this is a good idea? Kaminari snorted at Izuku's question. Never. You have all the brain cells in this relationship, but I know for a fact it will be funny as shit. Izuku gave a side glance to Kirishima. Kiri? I say do it. It does sound pretty funny. Izuku sighed and walked over to where Bakugo was talking to yelling at, but friendly, Iida and Uraraka and eyed Kami, who gave him a thumbs up from behind his phone. Bakugo noticed him. The hell do you want, shitty Deku? Well, Bakugo, I was wondering if you... He cut himself off as the boy's head slowly turned to face him with the most incredulous look on his face. He blinked and continued, pretending not to notice. Anyway, Bakugo, I was wondering if... What the fuck? It was almost a whisper, and there was no heat behind the words. Izuku blinked again. What? Why did you call me that? He blinked again. Your name? Yes. Well, you always said you don't like being called Kachan, so... No. No? No. Never call me that again. Okay, Katsuki? No. He sounded strangled, and his eyes were incredibly wide. Then what do I call you? Bakugo grit his teeth. What you've always called me, nerd. Izuku blinked and frowned. After a pause, Bakugo forced it out through clenched teeth. Call me Kachan. Oh, okay, Kachan. He smiled and walked off, leaving Uraraka about to laugh and Iida confused. Bakugo just looked lost. Kaminari pressed the button on his phone and burst out laughing. Oh my god, that was priceless. He really didn't like you calling him anything else. Izuku smiled, ducking his head. I feel bad we tricked him. Kirishima patted him on the back with a grin of his own. Nah, he spoke from the heart and showed his true feelings, Mido bro. Plus, Kaminari snickered. Now I have prime blackmail material. Izuku chuckled, casting glances at the still shell-shocked Bond. Yeah, maybe don't bring this up ever. You recorded it, that should be enough. Mina bounced into the classroom. Recorded what? Kaminari grinned and thrust his phone in her face, and she blinked before putting in the headphones. As she watched, her grin grew wider, and she kept glancing at Bakugo, who was back to his regular self. Likely because Uraraka was making fun of him. Iida seemed to be reprimanding her, but she just kept going. Izuku wondered how she wasn't getting exploded, in all honesty, since he definitely would be. Mina burst out laughing, handing the phone back to Kaminari and wiping a tear from her eye. Oh my god, thank you so much, I needed that. Izuku waved his hands rapidly. You can't tell him, or he will kill me. Kaminari snorted and patted him. I'll go down with you, Mido bro. Don't worry. We'll both be dead if this gets out. Kirishima grinned. Plus, I'll defend you guys. I'm unbreakable. He pounded two hardened fists together. Thank you both for your votes of confidence. No, Izuku, he won't kill you. Don't worry, Izuku. We won't tell him. Real helpful, guys. Kaminari snorted again, raising his voice to a falsetto. No, Izuku, he won't kill you. Don't worry, Izuku. We won't tell him. His voice dropped back to normal. There, feel better now? Izuku giggled. Yeah, thanks, Kami. Anytime, my dude. Yo, Jiro said. He's almost here. Everyone scrambled to their seats, just as Aizawa walked in. He nodded. Good, you're getting better. On to business. Lunch found Izuku buried in his notebook. He didn't have a name for his full body ability yet, and he had been experimenting with it in heroics class earlier. So he was writing down all of his observations and completely ignoring the conversation that was going on around him. That meant he didn't notice when Monoma of Class 1B came up to their table. Class A, consorting with support students, you'd really do anything to get ahead. May snorted. Oh, please. I came to them when I heard Greenie talking. They couldn't get rid of me if they tried. Monoma scoffed. I can assure you, Class B has far superior heroics candidates than 1A ever could. Without looking up from her gadget, May retorted, Do you have a generator? A what? A generator. She shot a thumb at Kaminari. Someone that can give me electricity to power my stuff. The blonde student puffed up. I'll do you one better. I can copy the quirks of any one of those Class A schmucks. Sensing an opportunity, Mina perked up. Copy, huh? Hey, Dr. Mido, what do you think of a copy quirk? Izuku blinked and looked up from his notebook at her before breaking out into a grin. A copy quirk? Oh, that's so cool. Copy quirks are so incredibly versatile since they can mimic any quirk ever. Maybe not mutation, since that would actively change your body. There are a couple of different ways to activate copy quirks, depending on the quirk, but I bet the rest and most accurate would be touch, since quirks are a product of DNA, and that gives you direct access to the person's DNA. He hummed, taking a breath. If it was touch-based, I wonder if the DNA has to be active, or if you could store hair from people with useful and versatile quirks so you're ready for any situation. The only downside of copy quirk, other than the fact that it's super rare, is that you generally have to have people you can copy. But if you didn't need live cells, hair could completely negate that downside, and they would be one of the most powerful heroes ever, good for every situation. They'd probably be really smart too, to keep all of that in their head and know what would be best for every situation. He blinked at her with a smile. Why, what brought this up? He finally noticed Monoma as the boy sputtered beside their table, eyes wide. Oh, hello? You really think that? Think what? What you said about copy quirks. Izuku blinked, confused, but nodded. I mean, yeah, I like pretty much every quirk, so the idea of a copy quirk always appealed to me. Why? Monoma pursed his lips, considering before he nodded. Okay, not all of Class 1A is terrible. You win this round. He walked away, and Mina giggled. Dr. Mido strikes again. He was so confused. What did I do? That was Monoma from Class 1B, right? Kirishima chuckled and patted the boy. He has a copy quirk. Izuku went beet red and shrieked. You just let me ramble about his quirk while he was right there and I didn't know? Mina patted him on the shoulder. Think of it this way, Dr. Mido. You just made him rethink his otherwise extremely negative opinion of Class A single-handedly. Yeah, Kaminari cheered. You just made a friend, maybe, or at least like an acquaintance. Izuku covered his face with his hands, feeling the heat from his seemingly perpetually red cheeks. Guys, warn me next time. But you get so flustered if you know you're talking about someone who can hear you. Yes. That's why you should tell me so I don't have to go through the mortifying ordeal of being known after. Spilling my guts and creeping them out. Mina rolled her eyes. It's not creepy, it's cool. How many times do I have to tell you, Izuku? His blush came back in full force. Mina? She snorted. Now you have something else to blush about, eh? Kirishima cheered. Good call, Mina. Don't worry, Izuku. You can call me Eijiro if you want. Don't leave me out. I already called you Izuku earlier today. You can totally call me Denki. He sighed, blush dying down. Well, we'll see. I haven't ever really called anyone by their given names before Mina and Sue. Kaminari grinned wickedly. And Kachan! The blush came back and Izuku squeaked, burying his face back into his hands. The entire table of 5 laughed, but Izuku didn't feel like he was being laughed at, like he was in middle school. He smiled around his hands and glanced at his friends. If this was friendship, he could more than deal with a little bit of teasing. Alright, that's the end of Chapter 9 of Traffic Light Trio by Itslivybear. I hope you guys enjoyed, and then I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!